on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Psalm 118:24, King James Version. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. New International Version. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Wake up! Wake up, everybody! Wake up!
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM, The Jag. A fantastic day. Angelo is here from Mobile Bay Coins, mobilebaycoins.com. Angelo, good morning to you.
Well, good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'll be at Mobile Bay Coins later this morning from 9 to 10 with a live Ask the Expert there on Government Street, 2204 Government Street. Live from Mobile Bay Coins. Angelo, how are things in Midtown Mobile?
Good, good. We've been very busy at the shop. It's been very blessed. We appreciate it. Got a lot of customers coming in and mentioning you, talking about the show, and asking questions about coins, jewelry, knives, you name it.
We're looking forward to that later today in the 9 o'clock hour. We will talk about Jeff Sessions on the show today. Could the end be near? According to the Associated Press, believe them or not, I understand some don't believe them. Believe them or not, the end could be near politically for Jeff Sessions. Imagine being in his spot, Angelo.
Yeah, that would be very stressful right now.
After all of these many years in public service, putting himself on the line, he did put himself on the line.
He certainly did. Not only what he's doing right now, but at the very beginning when Trump was running and Sessions supported him. We saw him down here at the big event here in Mobile.
Yes, he goes out onto the stage at Ladd Stadium and puts on the Make America Great Again cap.
Yes, sir.
Which other senators would not wear the cap. He was a cap wearer. This was a big deal, putting on the cap and being photographed in the cap. And so then he becomes Attorney General, and look where he is now. With all these, and again, believe the Associated Press or not, but it looks like the president, he tweeted about him yesterday morning, calling him the beleaguered Attorney General. It looks like the president is prodding Jeff. Maybe he wishes Jeff Sessions would step down so that he wouldn't have to fire him. It seems like there's something like that going on.
You could certainly read a lot of different things and all these different tweets and the scenarios that are going on, and it does make you wonder what's really happening.
Yes, well, what a rough end.
Poor Jeff.
For Jeff Sessions, if this is the case, that he's going to be pushed out in some form or fashion. But we do have a governor's race next year in Alabama. Has anyone purchased the domain name sessionsforgovernor.com? I guess we need to look and see.
There you go.
Has someone bought sessionsforgovernor.com? He could always come back to Alabama, run for governor.
That would be great.
I can think of a lot of candidates that would be very upset.
Oh, yeah.
That would like that job. Hey, right back with more Uncle Henry Show. Stick with us after traffic and weather.
Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
Well, we just aren't seeing much out there in terms of interstate traffic volume right now, and it's even fairly dry for a change. I-10 coming across the Bayway to and through the Wallace Tunnel, Causeway and the Bankhead, and the trip on I-65 from Pritchard and Chickasaw to the I-10. All of that's moving along well, light volume and no big problems at this very early hour. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Another tropical day along the Gulf Coast. High temperatures will top out in the upper 80s. We are going to have about a 60% chance of storms for today. Keep the umbrella close. Lows tonight will be in the 70s. And Wednesday, we're going to drop it down to a 40% chance of wet weather. Highs soar back into the 90s. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News and this iHeartRadio station.
Download iHeartRadio and get News Radio 710 WNTM on the go.
The music.
Take the vocals of Steven Tyler. Add the guitar of Keith Richards. Stir in the drums of Neil Peart. Serving up steaming hot classic rock. 96.1. The Rocket.
News? Check. Traffic and weather? Check. Opinions? Check. This is the Uncle Henry Show, only on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here with Angelo of MobileBayCoins.com. Coming up in just a few minutes, about 10 minutes, we'll talk about the controversy from the amusement park. There's already been a controversy. OA opened Friday. There's already been a controversy. We'll get into that coming up in about 10 minutes on the Uncle Henry Show. Meanwhile, Angelo's a dog owner and lover.
Yes, sir.
If you go to Mobile Bay Coins, they've got dogs in the shop. Now, they're not on you. The dogs are behind the counter, but there are dogs in the shop. I'm also dog-oriented. And I saw a story linked on the Drudge Report yesterday where scientists are claiming that within maybe a decade, we're going to be able to have conversations with dogs, that there's going to be some way, some software, something that is going to translate dog conversation, pet translators.
Really?
So that we would, if we wanted to, we would be able to have some kind of a communication with the dog where the dog would be translated for us, and then I guess it would translate whatever we're saying to dog sounds or something to the dog. Now, the question that I pose to you and others, Angela, is do we want to do this? Because I don't want to converse with the dog.
Well,
what does the dog know?
You do have an interesting point there, and my first thought was, okay, the dog is basically going to say, I'm hungry, I want some attention, or I need to go outside.
Right.
And other than that, there's not really a lot of processes there that the dog is actively involved in.
Now, there have been movies where dogs and cats have talked, right?
Sure.
And have had human thoughts. But as you said, what is the dog going to be able to tell me? Now, if the dog knows the secret of the universe, whatever that might be, then maybe that would be interesting. But unless we discover, when they work through the prototype, unless they discover that the dogs know something that we don't know, then why do we want to talk to dogs?
Well, Uncle Henry, I could have my dog sitting on the couch with me, and if I said, hey, Cookie, what'd you think about that last Game of Thrones episode? She's going to roll on her back and say, rub my belly. That's pretty much going to be her response to
That's what we think.
About anything. Well, that's what she does. She'll roll on her back and say, hey, rub my belly, or give me a snack, or I'm going to bed. Maybe
the dogs are frustrated that we can't understand them, and so they know the basics. But I don't know that I want. Now, I can see why they want to work on this technology, because they're going to get some sap.
Some grant.
Well, yeah.
There's going to be $1 million spent on somebody doing this stuff.
So the taxpayer will be the sap that pays for this. But,
right.
But the whole point is to make money off people. But we have enough trouble understanding each other.
Uncle Henry, how would we know if it really worked? How do you know this guy's not going to come up with this program, this translator, this app, and it's just going to be putting random stuff out there based off of sounds your dog makes? And there's going to be people out there you're right, people would pay good money for that if they thought it really worked. And for all you know, he's got a group of people overseas just typing in things into a word processor here.
Or it could be the high-tech equivalent of the Magic 8-Ball.
There you go.
Where there's just
precisely
a few answers. Well, I don't like the idea of it. Because once the dogs are talking, then the dogs get legal representation. There's going to be some kind of a rally. We've got enough problems. We've got enough problems with dogs getting involved in the conversation. All right, controversy. The amusement park, aside from traffic, there's a controversy, and we'll get into that when we come back. The Uncle Henry Show continues. Thank you for listening to The Uncle Henry Show.
Glenn Beck program introduces a new eve.
The eve of global war.
Celebrate with your family and friends. Today at 5, News Radio 710, WNTM.
Hi, I'm Chris Morgan, GM of your Bay Bears, inviting you to come out to Hank Aaron Stadium for another great season of Bay Bears baseball. Here's what's happening this week.
Your Mobile Bay Bears are on the road, but you can get tickets now for the next home game online at MILB.com. And be sure to check out season memberships and partial plans. Plus, find out about suite rentals, birthday parties, and promotions.
Your Bay Bears and iHeartMedia look forward to another fantastic season. We'll see you at the Hank.
I believe the finest cars in the world are made right here in Alabama. And that's why Mercedes-Benz of Mobile is expanding our team of talented technicians. If you have the drive and skill it takes to be a Mercedes-Benz technician, then we want you to be part of our family. We're offering excellent pay and benefits along with fully air-conditioned parts and service departments. Mercedes-Benz of Mobile is hiring service technicians. Please call 251-472-BENZ. That's 251-472-BENZ.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss. Ken Fisher, founder and executive chairman of Fisher Investments.
We don't sell annuities. We'll never sell annuities. Most annuities have nosebleed level fees, don't do what the customer thinks they do, have tremendous tax problems, are hard to get out of once you're in them, and are extremely confusing.
Don't let the sound of guaranteed income lead you to financial headache. Call now for your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out why legendary money manager Ken Fisher hates annuities. Call 1-800-885-2288 and see what you might be getting into.
Anything you want to do with annuities, there's a better way to do. If you have more than $500,000 to invest, talk to us.
Get your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out the 9 questions every annuity investor should ask. Call now, 1-800-885-2288. That's 1-800-885-2288.
Here we are on Facebook. Just wanted to say hello to those of you that found us this morning on Facebook. And we've got Tuskers, Nita Jeffers of Bay Minette, Kurt Kramer, Brenton Odom. Good morning to all of you that found us on Facebook this morning here with Angelo. Angelo, you go all over the Gulf Coast for appraisals.
Yes, sir.
Have you been to Bay Minette?
I used to work up in Bay Minette. I've not done any appraisals in Bay Minette. Ron has a couple of times.
You used to work in Bay Minette?
Yes, sir.
Now, I remember you telling me that was right. That was what brought you to our region, wasn't it?
Correct.
A job in Bay Minette?
Correct.
How long did you work in Bay Minette?
Several years, actually.
Did you ever live in Bay Minette?
No, sir. No, sir. Lived in Daphne, commuted to Bay Minette. And it was enjoyable being up there, but at the same time, very quiet community. I can see living up there because you're very close to the country. Lots of things to do if you like to hunt and fish, if you like to be active. You have to go somewhere else to do something.
And that's nice that Angelo has good things to say about Bay Minette. That is, Bay Minette always craving some kind of positive reinforcement. So, and Kurt Kramer has given me a tip that the president's already tweeting. Oh, my. Kurt.
Early this morning.
Thank you, Kurt Kramer. Stepping up for the Uncle Henry Show. And he's attacking Jeff Sessions.
Again?
On
Already?
Twitter. Yes. Oh, my goodness gracious. He's trying to get him to quit, obviously. He is trying to...
So what's the morning tweet?
Let's get into it when we're back on the radio.
All right,
we'll get into that, and also we'll be bringing Ariel in on this controversy with the amusement park. But he's attacking Jeff Sessions already early this morning. Jeff Sessions said he wouldn't resign last week. I guess he doesn't want to fire him. He wants Jeff Sessions to quit. That's got to be it. Why else would you attack him every day?
Yeah, start saying things like that.
There were also stories yesterday that, and again, you'd never know if you can believe the sources or not, or if they're just trying to start something. But there were stories yesterday that the Secretary of State also wants out.
Holy cow.
Because he's not being allowed to do what he wants to do. That Jared Kushner is got too much influence, et cetera, et cetera.
And the press secretary just got replaced.
All right, stand by. We go back to radio. Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. Angelo's here, Mobile Bay Coins, 2204 Government Street. I'll be there today from 9 to 10, broadcasting live, learning about all of the precious metals, the coins, the jewelry, all the different items there at Mobile Bay Coins. If you want to look at us this morning, the video is available on Facebook. Go to the official Uncle Henry Facebook page or News Radio 710 WNTM's Facebook page, and you'll find the video of us here in the studio. We're going to want to touch upon this controversy from the amusement park. Before we do that, just mentioning that the president has been tweeting about Jeff Sessions this morning. His tweet in the 5 a.m. hour this morning is Attorney General Jeff Sessions has taken a very weak position on Hillary Clinton crimes. Where are emails in DNC server and intel leakers? So this is the second day in a row that the president is taking Jeff Sessions to task. Last week, I had the caller Solomon claim this was all wrestling, that this is all some kind of strategy. And I'm hoping that it is.
And I remember Solomon mentioned the fact that Trump was very actively involved in the WWE
Yes, he
at one
was.
point.
Yes, he was. So,
and he also had his own television show.
I hope for Jeff Sessions' sake that this is some type of wrestling. I hope for his sake. We'll get back into all of that as we continue, but I want to briefly touch upon this controversy at the amusement park. Ariel, please join us, because Ariel is a female. And this involves, Ariel, have you heard the controversy?
I haven't. What is it?
All right, so OWA at their website had a list of restrictions on people riding the rides.
Right.
And there was a big controversy erupting because they had on their restrictions all guests, you had to weigh 225 or less.
What?
And a waist size and a chest size. But then they also specifically mentioned that females could not weigh over 200 pounds. And they had to have a dress size of 8. They couldn't get on the ride if they were a size 18 or larger.
What would make them think that's a good idea?
Well, they took it off their website because so many people were upset that they singled out women with these weight and dress size restrictions.
The thing about it is, if your little raggedy rides can't hold people that are 200 plus pounds, then you probably should have held off on this grand opening.
Exactly. And that was my thought, Ariel, is I get it that you have safety restrictions and that the engineer somewhere said this is the limit for this ride. This is what this ride is rated at. But for goodness sakes, look, you're in southern Alabama. You're in the United States.
Hello.
Look at your customer base and seriously think about whether or not that's going to make sense. Beef up the darn rides if that's what you've got to do, and hold off for a couple months.
This is kind of a shock to me, as you pointed out. You can go into a lot of different businesses and not see anybody under 200 pounds.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that's the world we live in. So it's kind of a shock that your weight restriction would be 200 pounds.
Precisely.
It's quite a shock that they would actually tell a woman that that if she wore bigger, because I know women who wear a size 18 and are not 200 pounds. I'm just saying. I know women who wear a size 8 that are 200 pounds.
Well,
it's a thing. It's all about height.
Well, OWA released a statement last night.
Of course they did.
Saying
Did they apologize?
It was never our intent to offend any person or group by the language in our rider safety restrictions due to manufacturer requirements of the rider restraint system. Guests of particular body types may not be accommodated on some of our rides. Safety is the number one concern.
Right. That's like somebody calling up here going, "No offense, Uncle Henry, your big fat mama." Really?
Well, you're right. You're right.
Because that kind of didn't take the sting out of it, baby.
No. Well, I guess now this, as you've pointed out, this brings up curiosity about what kind of rides are they if a 200-pounder.
I was already skeptical to begin with because when I rode past there in May, I saw nothing but red dirt, and then all of a sudden a grand opening in July.
Right.
No. See, I was right. I was right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ariel. 200 pounds. See, and being a male, I'm not familiar with dress sizes and what all that means.
And I'm glad that you're not, Uncle Henry.
Okay.
I'm really glad of that. By
now,
the way.
I know that most men younger than me know all about it because in modern times, men know about dresses and things like that.
Don't hit me with that stuff that early in the morning.
Okay.
Sir.
Well, you know what I'm driving.
Well, I do.
But I'm sure that they didn't mean to offend anybody. It's new. I believe it's new. It's a new business for them.
Right.
And they've learned from this experience.
They don't have to worry too much about what size you are when you walk into the casino to spend money.
That is true.
Doesn't matter.
That is true. So, and
who knows? Maybe whoever was in charge of ordering the rides and getting them out there, like Ariel said, from going from groundbreaking to finished product and live out there so quickly, makes you wonder what shortcuts were taken.
Probably not any safety shortcuts.
No.
But maybe reading the website. Reading the website stuff on the website. All right, look, there's more to come. The Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show.
Waking up on the right side. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Right, it turns out CNN hosts aren't only...
Here we are on Facebook. Good morning, Facebook. You, the Facebook viewer. Angelo showed up with some knives or other things from Mobile Bay Coins. Is there anything you want to show, even though it's early?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you want to show?
Should we start off with the more impressive piece first?
Yeah, and we'll show it several times this morning.
All right.
Because some people, and by the way, if I didn't have this job, I would not be conscious. So there are going to be some people that wake up late. Now this is
that's a kukri. A while back we brought in a original kukri, and this is the cold steel version. It's actually a Royal Kukri machete. So if you needed to go out in your backyard and machete some brush or something like that, that would be a great option for you. And I actually have a couple of those for sale at the shop.
A kukri. Now, where do these originate from?
They were actually the Gurkhas up in the Himalayas. The Nepalese Gurkhas were the ones using those.
Now, what do you need to cut in the Himalayas?
Yak fur? I don't know. I don't know what they actually use.
Doesn't it snow up there?
It snows a lot. Maybe they're cutting blocks
Isn't
of
that
ice.
where Iron Fist is from?
That's where Iron Fist is from.
His
You're
plane
correct.
crashed?
Yep, it did. His parents' plane crashed, and he was flung into an alternate dimension or something?
I don't know about that. But so this is what they would use.
So I show you a knife, and you take it to a cartoon, a comic.
Well, I'm trying to understand. The Himalayas, I don't have a lot of experience with the Himalayas, and I only know about them through popular fiction.
But that was a knife that the Gurkhas used or carried as part of their gear, their kit. So
kukri.
Yep, the Royal soldiers used that as a weapon. Originally, the theory is that was basically a small farming tool, farming implement that was used just out there on the farm for chopping up root vegetables or digging or getting rid of roots and tree branches and things like that. And it was adapted into use as a weapon.
This looks menacing. I mean, if you whipped this out,
it feels menacing too, doesn't it?
If you whipped this out in public, people would be alarmed.
I'm sure they would. And they would have every reason to, Uncle Henry.
This is something that, now is it legal? If I wanted to carry this around in my car.
Yes, sir.
Would it be legal to have this in the passenger seat of my car everywhere I went?
It's legal in Alabama to carry something like that as long as you don't carry it concealed.
Okay.
And that would be, you could conceal that, but it would be a little challenging for
if it were in the if it were in the passenger seat of the car,
you're fine.
That's okay.
Yes, sir.
So if there were a road rage incident, I could whip out the kukri.
I'm not sure. You certainly could, but I'm not really sure what good that's going to do you against a car driving down the highway or idling through your neighborhood.
All right, I'm not going to use it on a car.
What are you going to use it on?
But if somebody
your passenger seat?
if somebody runs up to your car and wants to mess with you, then this could be intimidating if you reached into the passenger seat and said, "Hey, I got a Himalayan kukri used as a farming implement, but you're menacing me, so I may kukri you," and then people could flee.
That is a good point.
You're not buying into this?
No, not really. I'm just sitting there thinking, if somebody's running at my car, he's going to have two choices. I'm either going to get out and get in a defensive posture, or he's going to get hit with my car.
Okay. All right. Well, this is
because the car would win that fight.
You can look at these at Mobile Bay Coins. You could even buy one.
You certainly can.
And then, see, if I bought one, I would want to use it, so I would go out and hack something in my yard.
And then probably sweat like mad, because it's rather humid out there.
It is. Does it feel rather humid in here?
No, I feel fine in here, actually.
You do? Because I feel like I'm going to faint.
Uh-oh. It's probably excitement from holding the Royal Kukri.
No, well, and if you're a family member, I don't really feel like I'm going to faint. It's just, it seems very humid to me. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm wearing a hairpiece and a jacket. All right, Angela, thank you for bringing in the kukri. I would like to brandish that later.
Absolutely.
I want to brandish that later in the program. All right, we're going to listen here briefly to Fox News headlines and then come right back. I just need to hear what they may or may not say about Jeff Sessions.
News breaks while you sleep, so when you wake, we'll catch you up on what's happening along the Gulf Coast and around the world every weekday morning on Local 15 Today. We start at 5 a.m. I'm Local 15's Darwin Singleton for this iHeartRadio station.
Fox News Radio, I'm Rich Dennison. The Senate is expected to vote today on whether to proceed with debate on the latest GOP health care plan.
It's a pretty narrow margin. They can only lose a couple of senators and actually have the votes on the Republican side of the aisle to start debate on this bill.
Fox's Chad Pergram. Senator John McCain, recently diagnosed with brain cancer, has been medically cleared to return to Washington for today's vote. President Trump's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner returns to Capitol Hill today for a second day of meetings with congressional investigators over his contacts with Russians during the campaign. Today's meeting is with the House Intelligence Committee. Yesterday, he met behind closed doors with Senate staffers.
I had no improper contacts.
Kushner says he had 4 meetings with Russians during and after the election, insisting that he has nothing to hide. Fox News. We report. You decide.
If you're ready for a security system, call TSI Alarms and Audio. They offer short-term agreements and low monitoring rates. Call 251-662-0500 or visit online at thetsigroup.com.
If your AC system is out and needs repair, or it's time for a new Daikin system, your local Daikin Comfort Pro is Bachelor Service Heating and Air. With integrity since 1967. BachelorService.com. Certification number 17070.
Hey, this is Uncle Henry. I want to tell you about a dentist I found in Mobile named H. Radcliffe Brown, Jr. When I moved back to town, I asked people if they could recommend a dentist, and they recommended Radcliffe Brown. I had a cracked tooth. I needed a crown on it. I went to see Dr. Brown at his office, 1501 University Boulevard, and he had just remodeled with state-of-the-art technology. So he was able to make the crown for me while I waited. It was a same-day crown, no temporary crown, and it fit perfectly. Dr. Brown has a family-friendly practice. He offers a wide range of services, including cleanings, whitening, cosmetic bonding, the same-day crowns I just told you about, veneers, bridges, dentures, partials. He restores implants. If you're a new patient, you can get a new patient appointment within just a few days. Remember the name. It's H. Radcliffe Brown, Jr. Call him at 251-342-5636. While his website is under construction, you can look for him on Facebook. Look for H. Radcliffe Brown, Jr. Dentist on Facebook.
First house, last house, mid-south, court that side, porch, cul-de-sac, mid-south, court that, brick house, townhouse, don't pay, court that, dockside, poolside, outside, court that, corner store, warehouse, mama's house, court that.
Tired of
painting your home every 4 to 5 years? This is Kevin Mamahat, president of Mid-South Coatings. Better than paint, more durable than latex. Mid-South Coatings is the ultimate alternative to traditional paint. And with our lifetime warranty, you'll never have to paint your home again, guaranteed. If you live anywhere in the Gulf South, call for a free estimate. And since Mid-South Coatings is much thicker than paint, your home will look like it's just been freshly painted forever. So before you paint your home with traditional paint or any product, call Mid-South Coatings for a free estimate.
Call 251-272-4440. 272-4440. That's 272-4440.
Red, white, red, and blue, any color of the net. Anyway you're at, go this, go south, go that.
We love Nick Saban. Just wanted to get that out of the way. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM The Jag. Here with Angelo, Mobile Bay Coins, 2204 Government Street. I'll be there today from 9 to 10. Would love to meet you there if you're a civil person and can speak to us in a civil fashion. And we'll broadcast that on News Radio 710 WNTM today between 9 and 10. I'd like to ask Ariel to join us to represent millennials. There's a story out in the world of business that millennials, that the beer industry is struggling to get millennials to drink beer.
Because it's gross.
All right. Now, okay. All right. Well, there we have it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, beer is still incredibly popular. In fact, we have some new breweries opening in Mobile.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of people love the craft beers and things like that. And there was a recent survey last week where beer was Americans' favorite alcoholic beverage.
Really? Sure.
Yes. It was not an overwhelming majority, but it was like a little over 50-something% said that beer was their favorite. But millennials, they prefer wine and spirits.
You want to know why? Because wine makes you look fancy.
That's a good point.
Is it all about that, though?
Yes, it's all about status. You want to know why? Because we're very poor. So we keep trying to prove that we're not very poor. We keep trying to prove we have it together, and we don't. Wine makes it look like you have it together.
So you can pour wine out of a box into a fancy glass, and you're not going to take a picture of the box. You're going to take a picture of you holding the fancy glass.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. Are you serious? Are you serious?
That makes sense.
Yes.
That it has something to do with the way you look?
It's status. It's all about status. Like, that's why there are so many things posted on Instagram. Like, just like Angelo said, you're not going to take a picture of the box of cheap wine you bought. You're going to take a picture of the glass, and nobody knows that it's cheap wine.
Is that why craft beers have become so successful?
Yes.
Because it's like, this is a limited edition.
Yes.
Not everybody has this beer.
So,
Status.
So if I took a name brand beer from St. Louis and slapped a different label on it and tripled the price, then it would sell better.
Absolutely.
Whether or not it was the same beer, whether it tasted exactly the same,
absolutely.
Charge more and people will buy it.
It's just like people who can't afford BMWs, but they buy them anyway. It's all about status.
There you go.
The look of status.
I'd never thought of it from that angle.
Well, it makes sense, though, too, between Snapchat and Instagram, all these things that people use nowadays to communicate. It's very visual, and it's very instantaneous, and they all want to look a certain way, so that makes sense.
Thank you, Ariel. Goldman Sachs expects the overall beer market in our country to decline by 0.7% this year, which is a shocker, especially living here where beer is everywhere. Uncle Henry Show continues after traffic and weather together.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Dean McCrary Mazda Traffic Center.
Road work on the board includes the bridge replacement project on County Road 99 over Pine Barren Creek in Escambia County. The existing bridge is being replaced with a new one, although traffic is being maintained across the bridge as the work there goes on. Project's expected to ramp up early next year. No big accidents or breakdowns out there presently as you head out the door on this Tuesday morning drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Another tropical day along the Gulf Coast. High temperatures will top out in the upper 80s. We are going to have about a 60% chance of storms for today. Keep the umbrella close. Lows tonight will be in the 70s. And Wednesday, we're going to drop it down to a 40% chance of wet weather. Highs soar back into the 90s. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
Never miss a riff. TK 101, the rock station.
This morning at 9, Ask the Expert. Then Rush at 11. Right now, it's Uncle Henry on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM, The Jag. I've already gotten, earlier this half hour we talked about I consider it a minor controversy out of OWA where they had weight restrictions on their website. People were upset. Women were singled out on the OWA amusement park website as saying there's some rides you couldn't ride if you were a woman and you were over 200 pounds and wore a size 18 or larger dress. And OWA has pulled those restrictions. Those are...
Or pulled the statements, rather.
That's been pulled. And I've already gotten an email. I don't want to go into the email because somebody is being unkind, talking about creating an amusement park for overweight people with putting them on flatbed trucks and things like that. Charging people $10 to ride around in the back of a truck.
Well, wasn't there a cartoon movie about people getting too heavy, Wall-E or something like that?
I didn't see that. I'm an adult, so I didn't see that. So people are being unkind. Now, getting an unkind email about the OWA restrictions makes me understand the sensitivity, how people can be sensitive to all these things. Because there's always somebody out there like the emailer, Curtis. You know who you are, Curtis, who's making some unkind comment about people that are over a certain size. It is, and that leads into I saw a science story this morning that claims there's something. We've had the argument about artificial sweeteners versus sugar in soft drinks.
Right.
And the gist of this story is that scientists are now claiming that if you have a meal that's high in fat and carbs and you drink a sugary drink with it, that it does something to the way your body metabolizes the fat and you hold on to more of the fat or something.
I can see some of the possibilities in that.
I don't know.
All I'm saying is if you look at a lot of the Mediterranean diets, Italians, for example, they eat a lot of pasta, olive oil. So fats and carbs are very, very much a basis for their diets. And generally speaking, Italians weren't incredibly overweight or anything like that, or Mediterranean folks in general. However, when you look at American diets that are very heavy in sugary drinks, that changes things.
The angle from the scientists, they're claiming that if you combine a sugary soda with like a burger or fried chicken, that it tells your body to store what it's getting. That for some reason it tells your body to put it into storage and not burn it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, but do we get research every week
that says something one way or the other?
Yeah. So smaller portions would be the advice of the Uncle Henry Show.
There you go.
All right, well, I wish OWA the best with the controversy over the weight restrictions. They just opened. You're going to have, a year from now, no one will remember.
I'm sorry. I still think they just bought a roller coaster on the clearance lot. Nobody else.
No,
nobody else could nobody else was willing to buy it because it was too small.
No, this roller coaster is renowned, from what I understand. We're going to have to go after. Of course, I go on a diet. I'll go ride the roller coaster. All right, there's more to come. Uncle Henry Show continues. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show.
You've heard the news.
It's a new generation of missiles.
You know the story.
All options are on the table.
Now it's time to share your opinion.
We have a very serious issue in the world right now called North Korea.
News Radio 7.
Hey, we're here on Facebook. Before we go back on the radio, I want to mention that I'm going to be at Mobile Bay Coins today from 9 to 10. And I don't have any of the pictures ready to show, but I asked you about this on the air last week. You were selling a water filtration item, which is not something you do sell some things that are a little bit different at Mobile Bay Coins, like all the different knives that are fantastic. You also sell some flashlights.
We do, and those are great flashlights, by the way.
And what led you to carry flashlights?
Well, the flashlights you can actually use, and they were used and sold for use looking at currency. So if you're looking at paper money,
right,
and you basically, it's a long, instead of being a beam that's going straight out the end of the flashlight, it's a bar of LEDs.
Right.
So it basically creates a large bar worth of light. You run the paper money across that, and as you do that, the light shines through, and you can see any folds, creases, repairs, imperfections. So if you're buying expensive paper money, you want to look at that real closely, and that light makes it very easy to see the imperfections.
But the lights are good for other purposes.
Oh, certainly.
Those are great flashlights.
Yeah, you can use them for anything.
But I saw on Facebook, and I asked you about it on the air, you're also carrying a product to... it's something, I don't know how big it is because I only saw the picture, but is it like this big?
It's about 8 or 9 inches long.
Okay.
It's a little bigger around than that.
All right, so a little bigger around that, and it's something that if I went camping, I could pour water through it and it would filter the water and make it safe to drink?
Correct. And actually what's interesting about that is if, let's just say you're camping or you're stuck out in a rainstorm or something and you need a drink of water and you have an empty plastic bottle in your vehicle, which most of us out there do, you know, an empty water bottle, you could fill that up with rainwater or pond water or water from a creek, screw this filtration system onto the top of that water bottle, pour it out into a glass or into your mouth for that matter, and it filters the water as it comes through. So you could actually use a plastic water bottle that you find, fill it full of water from a questionable source, and use that filtration system to purify it.
Okay, that is a really neat gadget.
Handy. It's a handy little gadget. It's very lightweight. It has a little carrying bag, so you could clip it onto a backpack or just throw it in the glove box of your car. And if anything ever happened, you know, we always talk about hurricane kits. You need clean water.
Right.
Well, there you go.
If I were to hike the Appalachian Trail,
or if you were up in the Nepalese mountains with the Gurkhas, you could have one of those. And that would help you out.
Up at the, now,
you were all, you know, all up in arms about the poor little kukri earlier and what to do.
If I were in the Himalayas,
yes, sir,
wouldn't I melt snow and then filter it?
Well, right. You would, but you'd need something to filter it with. Would you want to eat the snow directly off the mountains?
Well, don't you want me to filter it?
I think it would be a good and safe idea, don't you?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the Himalayas.
But gadgets are cool and useful.
They
gadgets.
are.
Useful gadgets are very cool. A lot of times we get wrapped up. I've seen some of these ads for kitchen gadgets, and it gets a little overboard. But this is something that really is useful if you like to camp or hike or be in the outdoors, or if you just need something, like you said, for a survival kit or hurricane kit, a bug-out bag. You want to be able to have clean, fresh water in an emergency, but don't want to carry around gallons and gallons of water. Just throw that in your back.
All right, that's available at Mobile Bay Coins, and I'm looking forward to taking a look at the gadget when I'm there today from 9 to 10. All right, we're going to be back on the radio here in about a minute, right after the Kelly Foster weather.
Breakdowns out there presently as you head out the door on this Tuesday morning drive. With time saver traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Our torrential potential today at 60%. Due to the rain, cooled air, and additional cloud cover, our highs today will top in the upper 80s, lows tonight in the 70s, and then for Wednesday, a 40% chance of storms. Late week, we're going to have more heat and less in the way of wet weather. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
Roll Tide. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. Saw some news that was pretty promising. I believe from local, I don't know if it was Local 15 or AL.com. May have been AL.com reporting that the mayor of Mobile, Standy Simpson, is working with Carnival for an extension for Carnival to continue in Mobile.
Great. That's
So
good
that-
news.
Yeah, that is. It's bad to invest a lot of tax dollars into a building and then later try and figure out what to do with a building.
That is true.
Because we had that problem for a while with the cruise ship terminal.
We did.
We've had the problem with the Gulf Quest Maritime Museum, which Angelo, you can't hear it on the air, but
I'm
Angelo's
shaking my
shaking
head.
his head noticeably. We've had that problem with a lot of buildings in Mobile. Will we have that problem with Hank Aaron Stadium?
That's the next building on the list, isn't
Because the Bay Bears, there's confirmation that they are on the market and might be leaving town, and so we'll be trying to figure out what to do with that stadium after lots of civic investment in it over the course of many years. I have no earthly idea what you would try to do. I don't know how you would try to attract another tenant for something like that.
Right, that would be something very challenging. Baseball is such a long season. It makes for good use of a building, where if you look at some of the other sports that are out there, football, for example, a very limited number of games. So
Right.
they don't really use a building like that all that often, where baseball is, 160, 180?
It's a
lot of
long
games.
season. It's a long season. And I'm not an expert in how you market it, how you get people to show up. Because as you've pointed out in the past, Angelo, there are some cities that have similar weather in this part of the country that do attract crowds.
They certainly do.
But I don't know the formula for how because it's in this day and time, getting people to show up for that type of entertainment in the heat of summer, the heat and humidity of summer, I don't know how you do it.
Well, I think part of the problem, quite frankly, is the fact that when you have a team like the Bay Bears, they have to have a major league sponsor, correct?
Right.
And I think part of the challenge or the problem is if you have a sponsor that is indifferent to doing anything with the team or with the venue, then that's going to create problems and challenges, because it basically stifles, for example, the Bay Bears, it stifles them. They don't have the money or the talent or the resources to get out there and push things a little harder. I think that's probably a big part of the problem.
Well, as I said, not an expert on the topic, but we're very familiar. We're experts on the problem of what do we do?
yeah.
What do we do with this empty government taxpayer-funded entity, whatever it is? So who knows what it could be? What could be done with it? Could you repurpose it?
Or do we just look for another team?
Could you turn it into a soccer field, since people are clamoring for soccer? What could you do there at Hank Aaron Stadium? I'm sure that the city is devoted to it being baseball, of course.
Well, sure.
So we'll
We have a great
see.
history of baseball in Mobile.
Yes.
I mean, it's the Hank Aaron Stadium, after all.
Yes, it is, even though sometimes it's hard to get people to call it that.
Right.
It is Hank Aaron Stadium. Let's see. Also, but we do have the positive news that Carnival looks like they're going to work on an extension and continue to cruise out of Mobile.
Great.
Hey, you've never been on a cruise?
That is correct. And it's something I guess eventually I would consider. It just does not seem, to me, it does not seem terribly interesting being stuck on a boat for 5 days.
People love it, though. People love it.
A lot of people go all
look
the
at
time.
Look at how people love it.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of things people love that I don't do, that I'm not interested in. So, telling me everybody loves it or lots of people love it, that's not a selling point for me. You got to tell me something that's going to convince me.
Okay, well, there are a lot of different specialty cruises.
Now, those I'm tempted. I'm very tempted with.
I've noticed that they do specialty cruises, like famous authors will do cruises.
There are a couple music cruises that they do.
There
that
are
very
music
interesting.
cruises, yes, indeed.
Now, see, if there was a bacon cruise, you would probably be up for a bacon cruise.
Well, I guess I would be curious about a bacon cruise. It's
Yeah.
an odd idea, the idea of a bacon cruise.
They have specialty bacons every day, different types of bacon. Maybe specialty, chefs out there showing you how to create different bacon dishes. You'd be up for that.
I guess so. But special. We'd have to find you the proper specialty cruise.
There you go.
For you to want to go, and also the proper destinations.
Those are also very important.
There seems to, it's still globally a very popular type of vacation where some people will spend weeks on cruises.
Now, see, something like some of the Mediterranean cruises where you start off at one country in the Mediterranean and you basically, at night, you go from destination to destination. So you wake up in the morning, you're in your room, you get up, you walk outside, and we're in Italy, and then the next morning you wake up and we're in Greece, and you just sort of bump along the Mediterranean. That sounds interesting because you're basically using the boat to sleep on, and then you're visiting all these different destinations. You don't have to pack and unpack every day. To me, that sounds like fun, but to just get on the boat and go down to Mexico for a day or two and then come back, I don't know.
Well,
I'd rather get on a plane and be there.
You're still a young man. You're entering your prime cruise years. In fact, you're probably 10 years away from your prime cruise years, Angelo.
So you're saying it's all older American?
No, I'm not.
Folks.
I'm just saying that you're once you get to be a little bit older, you're going to think, why not? Let's go. Let's enjoy. Let's sit around and let the boat take me where it will. That's my prediction for your state of mind in 10 years.
Let the boat take me where it will.
Why not? All right, look, so good news if we are getting some kind of extension for Carnival in Mobile. We have news headlines coming up. Thank you for listening to The Uncle Henry Show. Again, I'll be at Mobile Bay Coins today from 9 to 10, 2204 Government Street, mobilebaycoins.com.